Hey everyone, in this video, going to be doing a little bit of talk about the phenomenon of groupthink and how to ideally avoid it, because that's the last thing we want to have as a quality as traders or investors. And also going to talk about different forums, because this internet, as we know, is full of information. There's plenty of stock forums and websites out there to discuss different ideas, and how they're set up and how their voting ranking system works is definitely a very significant factor that we need to take into account when we look at information on these websites. So we can't take everything for face value. We need to know what's going on behind the scenes to a certain degree. So first, let me start it off by saying I love Reddit. I've been using Reddit for maybe 6 years at this point. I love the videos on Reddit. I love, shower thoughts, all these different little subreddits, but I don't think it's a good place to go for information about stocks. And I'll explain why, because I've voiced this in the past, but I haven't really gone in depth as to why I think that is. So before we get into that aspect, we need to learn a little bit about what groupthink is. So groupthink is a phenomenon that's been studied by psychology, that's a proven fact to exist, where if you are in a group of people, especially if it's a vocal group, that you're likely to think with everybody else in that group. And an example would be obviously this infographic just showing that, everybody's sharing the same idea. And here's another one where there's an outside idea comes in and it changes perspective. So a study that was done that most clearly exhibits groupthink, and it has a lot of people in on the experiment and then one person who's not in on the experiment. And it has everybody, sitting in a line saying, all right, here's a picture of two different lines. Which line is bigger, A or B? And they compare the lines. And it starts off not being as obvious, but they go down the line and, subject number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, they're all in on it. So they all give the same wrong answer. And then they get to the last person who's the actual subject of the experiment. And that person's sitting there looking at everybody like, you're all giving the wrong answer, I can see. And what we see with, the average individual is that they may start by giving the wrong answer, but the more you go down the line and the more we continually see everybody else giving the wrong answer, that last person is going to start giving the wrong answer as well to conform to the group. And it even gets to the point where those lines get more and more obvious where, no, that's the wrong answer, but the person at the end is still giving the wrong answer because everybody else is as well. So it's a proven psychological phenomenon, and obviously this is the last thing that you want to exhibit as a trader. We look to be contrarians. I am more of a contrarian style trader. That's why I like oversold bounces. Oversold bounces occur when everything is dumping, everybody is bearish, and we get to the absolute extreme where there's nobody left to sell, and that's when the point when we hit bottom, like we saw in the S&P 500 recently on the all-out dump in December. That point is when everybody is the most bearish. And then just like that, we turn around and we bounce. And the contrarians are looking to the other side. So it's the same thing with the sell the news scenario. We saw sell the news in the marijuana sector when we were heading up to the first day of legalized sales. And those who are familiar with stocks and familiar with groupthink, everybody's thinking, oh, this is going to be a big day. We're going to run. We're going to hit all-time highs. And the contrarians of the group are saying, everybody that's going to buy has already bought. I'm going to be selling into this news event where other people think that it's a good idea to be buying. So contrarian versus groupthink, I would say they are pretty, on opposite ends of the spectrum. And in my opinion, as a trader and investor, it is better to be on the contrarian side of things than on the groupthink side of things. So when in my history of trading stocks, which at this point is pushing on 9 years, I've been in all different forums. I used to scour the internet. It's how I learned, in forums and reading. And the first one that I went to was IHub. And I was using IHub when I traded penny stocks. And the way that iHub is set up is it's a forum and you create a page. This is just looking at Fannie Mae, FNMA, because it had some action this past week. But we have administrators. They have guidelines on what's allowed and what's not. If you are talking specifically about a poster and being very malicious, your post is going to get deleted. If it's on topic and it's following the guidelines, it's going to remain. And so they post all the information about the company in the header, and then you get down and it's just this mass of information. It's this mass of posts, one by the other. And every single post has the same amount of value. No post is worth more than anybody else. It's all based on when you posted it. Whoever's at the top is the most recently posted post. Now, this is good for a number of reasons. In my opinion, number one, you're getting every single idea that is posted. If you are following along in this chat room, you're reading every post. You're reading the positives, you're reading the negatives. Sure, there's going to be, a certain skew of direction. If there's more people bearish, there's going to be more bearish posts and vice versa. But why I like this style compared to Reddit, and again, just want to go back, I love Reddit as a website, just not for a source of stocks. I actually met my business partner, Jason, before we started the Chart Guys on Reddit. I made a post saying, hey, it's 2013. US marijuana stocks are going insane. It's very easy to make money. It's growing on trees right now. Let me show you how. And, a lot of people responded negatively to me. He messaged me and said, hey, I'm interested in learning more. He's actually the first person that I ever taught technical analysis. We were able to turn his $700 into $10,000 in no time, thanks to a very bullish environment. And he was then a believer. And now we have this, 5-year relationship where we established the Chart Guys. But the bottom line is, I'm an active user of Reddit, but using it for stocks is a bad idea. And I'm going to talk specifically about the weed stocks subreddit here. And it's got 85,000 people. It's exploded over the last 2 years. And again, what I'm going to be saying here has nothing to do with moderators. Moderators are doing their best job. They're doing a good job, I'm sure. And it has to do everything with the style of how posts are voted upon. The most popular posts go to the top. The most unpopular posts get buried. And that's a very dangerous recipe for groupthink. If you have a whole bunch of people that are thinking, XYZ company, and if you're familiar with Reddit, you know what company I'm talking about, but XYZ company is the next great thing. Anything that's negative about it, I'm going to downvote because I'm emotionally invested in my stock, and anything that's positive about it, I'm going to upvote. And if that's the environment that you're in, there's going to be people that are the majority of everybody is going to only be seeing the positive side of the story. And it's going to make it seem like, wow, there's nothing wrong with this stock. It's the next best thing, because everything negative about the stock gets buried underneath, either with individual posts being so downvoted that they literally collapse, or with articles or videos or things like that that'll just never make it to the front page because they have so many downvotes. So in my opinion, this is the kind of voting style that allows for groupthink to thrive, and it allows for contrarian ideas to be buried. And in my opinion, if you are collecting information to get a perspective on things, you want to have an even side of both stories. You want to know all the good and all the bad so you can make an informed decision. And if you're only being fed all of the good, you're making an uninformed decision because you're missing out on a complete second half of the story. So I just wanted to share a little bit in terms of more in-depth information as to why I feel this kind of posting style is less beneficial than the kind of posting style where every single post is worth the same. The only factor is the time and when it was posted. So if you disagree with me and you think Reddit is the next best thing for stock information, that's fine as well. And I want to hear from you as to why you think that. So by all means, comment on this video and let's get some discussion going as to what we feel is the best kind of forum, the best kind of website platform to exchange information with regards to stocks.